This window is pristine, at least on the inside. A red thread has been taped to the glass using adhesive tape. It trembles ever so slightly in the cold wind.
This is ballistics. She's left a trajectory for us.
The golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed. Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain. Ending him. The red thread bisecting the room shows the trajectory of the bullet. From the roof outside, location A prime, the glass fractures around the bullet hole. Shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back. Maybe if you extrapolate all possible points of origin first, the thread will make sense. The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization. Ruby ruled this out vehemently. The shot would have been heard from downstairs, where no one heard it. The likelihood of A prime has fallen drastically. You may be looking for a sniper. The shot had to come from a greater distance, beyond A prime. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez? You would need a map for that, a map of Martinez.
The bookstore. They have maps. You're thinking, what if the shot didn't come from the roof, right? Good. We should come back with a map and compare the landscape to the radius of the shot.
The medicine cabinet is empty. Not even a toothbrush. Pity.
She certainly had her priorities straight when she was packing.
Oh, you're up. It's good to see you back on your feet. Did you like your room? I cleaned it for you. You're welcome. I thought it would be nice for you to wake up in a clean place after you, let's be fair, defended this establishment and its clientele from gunfire. I give credit where credit is due, and that, sir, was a nice shot. I was watching until you hit him. Crawled inside then. Bullets started flying. Anyway,
He really wants you to realize that he was also on the balcony looking by, in the danger zone, so to say.
I wish you a quick recovery. Also, you and your partner are staying here free now. This establishment supports cops. The stay is free, the drinks are not. It just felt I needed to specify that. Oh, you know, people don't tend to stick around after shootouts. Turns out they're not good for business. I don't remember everyone who comes here, and many people wear sunglasses inside lately. Must be a fad. Yeah, I was, yeah. That's because I'm a badass.
It really took courage. Don't pick at him.
Yeah, I don't know. Clients were panicking. And also, I guess I sort of found out that I don't give a shit if I die.
He means it. It's not just boasting. It's something he discovered about himself, stepping onto that balcony.
No problem. They'll come back. They always do. Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes?
Hi again, Gendarme. Bye-bye, Gendarme.
Seeing you approach, the bruised man raises his bear in welcome.
Crazy motherfucker. Didn't think you had that fury in you. But I guess I've misjudged a lot of people lately. That was one hell of a shot. Hell of a shot. The fucks did not expect that. I guess what I'm trying to say here is, thank you for intervening, fellas. That was mighty brave of you.
His hand is covered in bruises and half plastered. Still, this hulking lump of man is glad to be alive. This is big. It's as big of a thank you as Titus Hardy can muster under any circumstances.
Now, how can I help you? Dio was old. I think he'd be pretty happy with the way he went. Never could imagine him withering away on a sickbed. But Lizzie and Angus, they were just stupid kids. Didn't realize the shit they got into before it was too late. I feel responsible for both. For all of them, really.
Here it comes. The last one is the worst one. He only deals with it by drinking copious amounts of 8% beer. An honest tactic, and effective.
And Glenn was my friend. Best I've ever had. I'd love that crazy homo like my own brother. We're all fucked without him. But what do? This job is shit. Dennis, that poor little rat is dead too. I always thought he'd run. But no, he stayed. Stupid, brave fella.
He didn't like him. That only makes it worse.
Well, yeah. Memento mori. Right. It means you might die tomorrow. So live every day like it's your last. Ain't that right, fellas?
Absolutely. Today, I'm going to get drunk, eat good food, and bed a good-looking girl. 'Cause tomorrow, a motor carriage might run me over.
Or you might die of a heart failure. Or syphilis.
Hey, fuck you for ruining a beautiful idea.
I guess I'll take a closer look at our union members. There's bound to be some ambitious fellows there who'd love nothing more than advancing social democracy by busting some heads. Might even ask Tibbs if he's tired of replacing windows, and maybe wants to have some fun with his brother. Anyway, don't you worry. As long as Titus Hardy's standing, there will be Hardy Boys. Don't know, don't care. I'll be glad if I never see that fucking woman again.
Even after all that hell, he's still bitter about her?
Nope.
He shrugs and tries to look uninterested.
Judging by the sight of you, I'd suggest crawling into bed with a bottle of whiskey in one hand and a big tit in the other.
Yeah, go pay Monica a visit in Jamrock. She's got a knack for making men forget about their worries. Biggest pair of milkers in all Rebacho.
Hell, you both look like you could use some feminine company right now.
Thank you for your advice, Eugene, and you too, Alain. I do always appreciate a good use of the expression milkers.
You're welcome, Bina Claude. You're all right in my book. Take care, coppers. You two look after yourselves now. Death passed on you today, but men don't get that lucky twice.
Copo loco. And normal cop, I guess. Good luck in Jamrock. Scars make the best tattoos, they say.
Thanks for getting involved, guys. Not a lot of cops would step into that line of fire, but you did.
And if you ever feel like the uniform is holding you back, I've got a few vacancies. You'd make one hardy boy, copper.
And Titus Hardy himself would make a good officer. That man was born to lead.
I will, capo. That's a promise. Now scoot, 'cause the Hardy boys got some mourning and drinking to do.
Take it easy on the drink. The danger has not passed. This town needs you on your feet.
Good point, Bino Claude. We'll keep the vol under 12% tonight.
The graffito has been painted over the traces of the fight that took place here. It smells of blood and heavy fuel oil. The lieutenant crouches, touching the fuel oil with his finger.
Looks like it, yes. This is still fresh. It wasn't here yesterday. And blood. Some of it is even yours.
Heavy fuel oil. Isn't that flammable? You could buy some smokes, light up a ciggy and throw it in there, you know, just to see what happens. See if it's flammable. It's better that way. Safer.
My man, you're alive. Almost. Kind of. Sort of alive? Man, what a day. I missed out on most of the action, but I heard it was quite the encounter. Had a strong sense of finality to it. So what's next? You guys heading back to Jamrock now? Talk is local union muscle were behind it all. I'd reckon the case is closed, even if it kind of turned into a shit show. Hey, that's just what I heard. Old wives' tale. So, what next? Good luck with that, my man. Ain't easy being you, but hey, you're still breathing, right?
The tear machine steps. Your bottles clunk into the machine. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth, Wine, alcohol. Beer, alcohol. Love, alcohol.
I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health. But I guess you already know that.
Don't ask. Don't look. Don't do anything here. Just go away. Get back to work.
Here you go, mister.
The boyadero stares at you with respect, then gestures towards the trickles of blood adorning your clothes.
There are types of danger. The one I'm usually concerned with is lung cancer or getting mauled by wildlife, not bullets. It calls back to an older era where this was commonplace though. You have a true boyadero heart. Hiding, gathering themselves. The harbor's in full lockdown, friend. No getting in or out, for the time being. Time will tell. I'll tell Everard you dropped by. I'm sure he'll be glad. I'll be okay here, doing lookout. Quite the sight, aren't they? Getting to like that red I am. Don't worry about me. I live to alleviate the worries of our brothers. See if any insane killers turn up. Then I'll run. And live. I'm sure I'll be luckier than you, friend.
The graffito has been painted over the traces of the fight that took place here. It smells of blood and heavy fuel oil. The fuel oil catches fire immediately with an ominous hiss. A bright orange flash across the surface of the letters. Black smoke rises from the burning message. What if the words are not directed at the people of Martinez, or even the coalition aerostatics above the city? They're meant for something above even those. The lieutenant has taken a small step back. He looks at your face illuminated by the flames and nods silently. Then the fire falters. The flames warmed him too. Not at all in a bad way.
Time to crack this case. Let's really have a close look at that window in Glasier's room.
Slowly, the flames subside, the fuel burning out. The air still smells of mazout and springtime.
Mon Dieu! You set it on fire! What kind of a policeman are you? That's nice. Better somehow.
Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinez.
Map of Martinez. This could work, maybe.
Officer, discard the thought. For your brave efforts against those thugs, you may have it for free.
bullet is still safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. The bullet is still safely sealed away. You can't remove. The bullet is still safely sealed. A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46mm from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war, so there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for a well-preserved antique, most likely.
What are you thinking? Bullet? Okay. And? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Ravachol, really. I have to hand it to the monarchs. It's quite admirable that they took the advice of criminologists last century and banned the use of breech loaders in peacetime. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzle loaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end. Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Doesn't seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself.
The same two neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman. A ray of backward motion explodes from the man's mouth, through the window to the roof outside, widening into a radius, A prime. According to your map of the district, this shot could have come from a wide angle of locations, starting with the northern edge of the abandoned boardwalk, ending with an islet in the bay. Let's call them B prime. B prime for boardwalk, B double prime for Land's End, and B triple prime for the islet detective. There may be smaller points in between, but those are too fine to zoom in on. 1 kilometer away, an unlikely point of origin. Beyond the docks somewhere, on an islet in the Bay of Martinez perhaps. There are islets there. badly charted as they may be. The shot would have been a small miracle, 5% likelihood. There is an extremely narrow field of view from the bay to the window, between Rue de Saint-Ghislain 8B and 33A. The angle would have been extreme and access to the islets is questionable, but it is a possibility. Then there's the thread the witness left. She did have a first-hand view of the event. Perhaps she found something in the outer reaches of her memory of it. You need to inspect it again. 1.2 kilometers away, the least likely of these positions. Let's say 3%. A truly skilled sniper could have done it, possibly from a tent. No, too far-fetched. 700 meters away, the likeliest of these B positions, 20% chance. A skilled sniper could have made the shot, provided he had a safe sniper's nest. Even with the light on inside, we're talking military training. At that distance, the perpetrator would have had to take wind direction into account. It suggests the bullet came from the extreme upper quadrant of possible angles, from a point beyond the roof. B triple prime, the island in the bay.
Unless she thinks the perpetrator was standing on the ring antenna. That is where the thread seems to point. She was there that night. She would have known precisely where the bullet hole was in the glass. It also looks like there may be more to her skill set than we know. The question is, should we trust her? I find that hard to believe, but at this point, what difference does it make? So it is.
For a second he seems tired.
I just haven't gotten a lot of sleep these past few days.
He doesn't really believe this will yield anything. He is trying to justify it to himself.
Of course. I mean, how do we get there? Joyce Messier had her sloop, but she's gone. Ah, yes, of course. The village. Let's go.
Officer, what happened? You're limping. Why are you limping? You look terrible.
She sounds almost disappointed with you, reprimanding you for falling and hurting your knee.
Look at you can barely walk. Is this from the shooting in town? We heard gunshots. Not that we don't hear gunshots all the time, but they were closer than usual.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Ghislain. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
So you're a killer? That's good, I guess. Better than being dead. I've always taken you for one, that's for sure. Not a lot of RCM men who aren't killers. Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead.
Who has been there?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died there during the landing, you know. My mother told me. Hundreds, maybe thousands even. The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do. On barges. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet casings and such. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place before we go? Would that be alright?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful. Be sure to enter from the south side. Water's deep there.
Aye, aye, Captain.
If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull, I just got it nice and yellow, and no drinking on the boat, and no joyriding either.
Of course, man. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she smiles at you.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small tank.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with? Even I can see that. I told you not to bring your trouble with you, policeman. We've got troubles of our own here. Though I suppose you took the worst of it. Turns out you were your own ill omen. I'm not sure those were the last of the men with guns either. There are always more coming for your kind, officer.
Then we'll be ready for them. The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone while the other watches him do it.
And that iron. That's, nothing. It's just a seafort and some plants. You can take a raft there. It's great. And we make a fire. We make a fire. Mm-hmm. Gather the sticks for the fire. And bullets. Oh, not real bullets. Empty bullets. They're lights. The fire guy comes and asks us to put the fire out. No. Yes.
Let's go with yes.
Because he asks to put the fire out. I don't know. He doesn't like it. He don't like people to be there. You shouldn't go. Yes. I don't know.
Did you mean there are electrical lights?
Yes. No, he doesn't live there. I don't think. No, he lives there. Been there twice, 2 times. He doesn't live there. He isn't there sometimes.
Anything else? What does this guy look like?
I don't know. We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there. Our father killed himself. Don't say that, he didn't. I don't know. doesn't even have anything to do with this, you. Father isn't a fire guy. There's
Lights, fire guy. We should check up on that island.
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its 2 seats are empty. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Have you made all the necessary preparations? Closed all your accounts? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this. The skiff floats on the... Once you... Have you... Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this.
What? Fine. Let's blast Sadefem then.
Want to be free. Want to be free.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. There is very little wind here today. The ghost is standing still. You look at your arms, then the cliffs above you. Let's go. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracol blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed. blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. Dolores Day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry. Okay, don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go.
I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. Just my scepter, my globe crucigere, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder, silence. Her nuptial gown flows in the wind, wraps around her holy body.
Anyway. No, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into.
She does not answer. There's that expression again. Silence. A distant wind blows. You can't think of anything pretty to say.
No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. Really, we don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us, our love, our unborn daughters. It's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Revachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell. Forever. That's just the way it is.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
It's not. But... I don't know why I said but. There is no but. That's it, yes. We've talked about it a million times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again. It just takes some time. For you, I think it will take something like 20 years, maybe? It was hard for me too, you know? I used to think I couldn't live without you. But I can.
She keeps her shoulders squared and her back straight. But it's clear you're still making her sad. It's not. It's just not possible. It's like eating rocks. You just can't do it.
Yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew. Yes. But that time is gone now. So very gone.
There is a silence. She looks at you, then over her shoulder, then corrects the wreath on the dome of her forehead. As you talk, it feels like chewing on gravel, granite, steel bars.
No, Harry. We can't. We already tried again, and it didn't work. Yes, of course. I'm bourgeois because I don't want to keep hurting you. I don't know. Please. Harry, we can't be together because you're insane.
She avoids turning them to you. They're turning moist now. Her eyes. She slowly shakes her head and tries to get hold of herself, brushing her hands in her gown.
You know what I mean. What do you mean, stopped saying things? It's not about some tie, Harry. You've worked there for so long you can't even talk like a normal person anymore. It's always lists with you. Questions. This is another one, isn't it? We're in a tree right now. It's not just the lists or trees or whatever. You get sad, Harry. Too sad. People can't get that sad. It's impossible to watch. Other people get sad too, but not like you. You stay down for years, and then you start beating things. You get violent. In conclusion, you're ill. You're an old, insane man. And you have to be in hell until the end of your life. And I have to go to Morova. I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it. That's not what figurines do, Harry.
She looks at the headless Found Rider between your fingers and doesn't know what to say.
I didn't ask for things. It's too late to give me anything. I would have liked the headless Fallen Rider back then.
With your feet trembling from the steps you took, tepid and fearful, you stand against her, her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back. This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it, and you should not have listened to me. Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth, her tender soul moving through her lungs. Hidden, distant, kept safe from you. Feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries. The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air. Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it. Distrust. For you. The curve of her spine. Her shoulders hunched. She keeps herself stiff. Her center guarded from your motions. Unresponsive to your guidance. The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours. Trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew, and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see. I'm pregnant. Of course not. I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. Poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something else.
No, this has to end. Do the last one. More questions. Ask more.
We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
We will always have what was. I will always be influenced by it. But it is over. Now only total, unrelenting hell remains. I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30. I'm gonna go now.
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
No. That would only be painful and dull. At the aerodrome, life, love, and laughter are waiting for me. At the cafeteria, dust, hell, and tragic comedy. Light, life, culture. It's so much better than here. Everything here reminds me of you, and the horrible times we had. The nights we stayed up fighting for our dying love. I have to wipe it all off me and be clean again. I want to be a good person again. Not this. Not what you made me into. That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and am happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight. I won't see you, but you will see me. Oh, Harry, this is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful and young, and I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum, like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness, after leaving you the first time, so long ago. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? I did not want to wake you. Perhaps I should have? Was it a job dream?
The lieutenant nods solemnly. I understand. We've all been through similar things. It can be overcome.
Are you sure you're okay? You thrashed around and you bolted up, half covered in blood from your wound. Okay.
He He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep. An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it. Downstairs, somewhere?
The tank is far from full, but there should be enough inside to keep it going for a day. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl. No, it's more than that. There's something there, waiting.
After you. Don't be. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position. Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a Triangong 446.
A Samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
Yes. I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment he's a fire, the next a fire gone out.
You heard me. It's good now, like chalk wiped from the ball.
No. Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belma grave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a triangle, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The Commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the Commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties. 43 years. No. I've been on other islands too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. Two police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Mayer inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession would lighten the load.
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world. of our dreams. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. The combined might of international capital, all at once, all the greed and terror in the world, tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
Now, I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwight. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing, against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people death blow? You don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis. The black-eyed angel. How does anyone survive? I steal. Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just... So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however. The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing. The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
He was like a cleric, a shepherd.
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're a liberast. A liberal and a pederast. It's what most liberals are.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
What did I just say?
Oh no, you were wrong. Don't listen to your hands, for God's sake. You're too close.
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
The who now? Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. So he saw you. Okay, so what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder?
Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up. Yes, ouch. So good, it hurts. Those were not modern prints. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal. Nothing else comes up. You see the lieutenant watch you. Try to stimulate thought processes by hitting yourself. I'm sorry, this didn't do anything. Usually hurting yourself does.
Officer, a word? I think we may have this. From nothing to this in a day. This is good, Lieutenant Gefreiter. We just need a confession first, and then maybe a solid motive later. I can see that, yes. I'm not judging. Yes, good going. That should be our first priority. Good. We are doing very good. He wants to confess, I can see that. We just need to pile it on a little more. The more we have on him, the closer he is. Ballistics. Let him cook here for a minute or two. We can have another look around the island for a sniper's nest. I think we should check out the post.
It doesn't have to hold in court. Just establish a line of sight and he'll do the rest himself.
Remember, he wants to tell us, but he doesn't want to help us. It needs to look like we already have everything.
There is palpable excitement in his tone. He likes him for this. A lot. But there's something more, too.